Okay, so today we're going to be reading from 268 to 278. Getting 2,000 men, or what was left of them, for gossip was saying they had been well chewed, into boats and back to Boston, would create just the confusion Dr. Warren had promised. But it would not be easy for Johnny to slip over. The soldiers were cross and frightened. He would wait a little until they were more relaxed, say about midnight. Before him, lighted from top to bottom, he saw the lights house, and he remembered Pumpkin's uniform. Dressed in that, he might slip aboard in the confusion. He went to the lights. In front of the house he saw wagons and carts and men loading them with furniture, chests, trunks, boxes, even old portraits. The lights were moving, and by night and in a hurry. He went to the kitchen door. Mrs. Bessie, who certainly ought to have been superintending this moving, was sitting idly in the kitchen doing nothing. Scylla sat beside her. She was doing nothing. Mrs. Bessie jerked her thumb toward the front of the house. "Scared," she said. "They are all going to London until this insurrection, as they call it, is over. The Unicorn leaves at dawn tomorrow. Gage has given permission." "Scylla," said Johnny, "don't you go with them." "Never. We all had a terrible fight this afternoon when word first came that us Yankees had beaten them hollow. All the other servants are Tories and are going with them, but Mrs. Bessie and I are Whigs, and we are not going with them. In the end, Mr. Light said he was glad we are Whigs, because he will leave us here to look after his property. Gage had promised nothing up here will be touched. But they don't want us around. Can't bear the sight of us," Mrs. Bessie said smugly. The very sight of a good Whig makes them furious. Mr. Light did have another fit, just a little one. Miss Lavinia is afraid. If she doesn't get her papa right out of town and off to London, he'll die. She always did like London better than Boston anyway. They are leaving tonight, and fast. What's Isana gonna do? Is he? Mrs. Bessie's lips curled. She'll go with them. She will not, said Scylla. Miss Lavinia has gone down to Hancock's Wharf to ask Ma to let her take her, but Ma couldn't give her away, just as though she was a kitten. Miss Lavinia was standing in the doorway from the dining room to the kitchen. She had on a black cloak with the hood to it over her head. She stood a moment, looking about, and said nothing. Johnny was on his feet. He would never forget her. He knew he would never forget her. Never. Even when he was an old man, he would remember Lavinia Light, standing framed in that doorway, saying nothing. Her eyes were angry and tired. The chisel mark was deep between the low, sweeping black brows. He had never seen her look so worn and old, and never been more aware of her beauty. "Isana is going with me," she said at last. "Your mother, Scylla, has too many kittens." "Miss Lavinia," said Scylla, "you can't do that." "Can't. Your mother signed the paper, and you're a wicked girl to stand in the way of your sister's good fortune." A little diffidently, Isana herself emerged from behind the lady's great dark skirts. "Isana," said Scylla gently, "you can't go off and leave me like this. It's no matter what Mother says. Look, dear, if you go to London, maybe you will never come back. Isana, don't go away from me." Lavinia was smiling under her dark hood. "I will leave the decision entirely to her. She shall be perfectly free to choose between us. Precious, would you rather go with me to London